Hey guys, it's me, Drew, and I'm here to talk to you guys about proper candle care. I know a lot of people have been asking me about the proper candle care and how to properly burn candles, so I figured, why not? I'll make the video. I'm going to start off with Yankee Candle proper burning care, and then I'll go with Bath & Body Works. So this is a Yankee Candle large jar. These are $28, and these burn for 110 to 150 hours. The first thing that I want you to tell you is when you smell a Yankee Candle, you always smell the lid. The reason why you smell the lid of the candle is because when these candles are poured and the lids are put on them, when the fragrance escapes, it escapes into the lid, which is called headspace. So when you open the candle, when you smell just the candle, you get just the top note. But when you smell the lid, you get the top notes, the mid notes, and the dry notes of the fragrance. For example, spiced pumpkin. There's pumpkin, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and brown sugar. This is basically just a little simple pumpkin scent. Not much, but when you smell this, you get the brown sugar, and this is what it will smell like when it is burning, when you smell the lid. So that is just a nice tip. The same thing with a tumbler. I always smell the lid of the tumbler too. I know some people don't, but I do because it's just, I'm so used to smelling the lid, and it's fine. You do smell the lid. Now, whenever you first get your candle, their associates at the Yankee Candle Store are going to ask you, do you want your wicks trimmed for the first time? Tell them no, you do not want your wicks trimmed. The reason why is because this is what a wick looks like brand new from the store. Now, they say that these wicks should be 1/8 of an inch. Yes, after your burn. The first burn is important. If you do trim this wick before the first burn, it might tunnel. There's a 50% chance this candle will tunnel. So I leave my wick this length. It'll create a nice size flame. When it creates a full wax pool, you blow it out. And now, let me show you right here. Now, most people do not know what a full wax pool, whenever I say that, means. Basically, you should burn your candle 1 hour for every inch in diameter. For example, this candle is about 3.5 to 4 inches. Burn this for at least 4 hours. Now, the darker the wax, the longer it will take to create a full wax pool. For example, Whoopie Pie and Season's Blessings, those are really dark, so it does take a little bit longer in time. But I burn my candles all day, so it really doesn't matter. So you'll see a pool of wax, melted wax around the edge. You want it to form all the way around the edges. So when you see this candle, there should be liquefied wax all the way 360 degrees around. You'll start to see it. So I blow mine out normally after about 5 or 6 hours. That should create a full wax pool about 6 hours on a large jar candle. Now, these do burn for 150 hours. Now, you want to burn this on a heat-resistant surface. So basically, if you have a candle tray, now I don't always do that. I do it maybe whenever it gets to about a 1/2 inch of wax, or actually you're supposed to stop after 1/2 inch. So whenever you get to the label, I normally stick it on a candle tray just because that bottom of your candle will get hot. You do not want that ruining your surface. You also, like I said, after your first burn, trim your wick to 1/8 of an inch. Now, how do you trim the wicks? You take a wick trimmer. These are $9.99 at Yankee Candle. As you can see, there's a little divot right there. So you stick your wick right in there and you trim it. And if your candle has more than one wick, you do that to all of them. And then there'll be the little wick piece in the little tray right there. And you pick it up, you take this, and you dump it out in your trash can. And then there you have your wick trimmer. I know a lot of people use scissors, but it's hard whenever your jar goes down to here. It's really hard to get a pair of scissors in there. It's just impossible. I did that for about my first 2 jars, and then I said, forget that. That was way too hard. Now, if your candle starts to smoke, blow it out, trim the wick, and if there's any wick left in the wax, take that out and relight it. Normally, if you trim the wick right, you won't ever have to do that. You also want to keep your wax pool free of your wick trimmings, matches, or any item that is flammable out of there, and make sure you keep this wick centered. Sometimes if you burn your candle, I've never had this problem with jar candles, but I have with the tumblers. If you let it burn for too long, it will start to like the wicks will start to spread apart. You just want to make sure that those are always centered. You also want to avoid burning your candle in any draft. Now, most people are like, well, I have a ceiling fan. That's a draft. So, what I recommend this even if there is no drafts in your room. This is an Lid. These are $9.99. I've never seen one more expensive than that. And you stick it right on top of your jar candle. You stick it, you trim the wick, if it's before the first burn. Trim the wick, light your candle, stick this on there, and leave it go. What this Lid does is it keeps the heat inside your jar, so the jar candle will create a full wax pool in about 3.5 to 4 hours, 5 at the most. It'll make the wax pool, longer. It will also keep that wick straight and centered, and it won't flicker back and forth from the flame. If you stick your candle here, you can blow on it and the wick will, or the flame will never flicker. I've never had that issue with an Lid. They keep that wick perfectly straight, or the flame perfectly straight, so it's perfect. I would tell you, if you're watching this video and you have a bunch of people in your house that aren't familiar with the candle rules, teach everybody in your family the rules of your safe candle use, especially little kids. You don't want, tell them not to touch it. My little sister, I told her not to touch the flame of the candle. What did she do? She touched it. She learned that she burned her finger, and she never touched it again. Now, like I said with the jars, only burn these for, you have to burn these until it gets a full wax pool, or else it'll start to tunnel. I don't have any candles that tunnel because I do burn my jar candles correctly, but I know some people do not do that. So I'm just letting you guys know that whenever you burn this, just make sure to burn it all the way around. And if you do that, and like you blow it out, trim the wick, this is what a candle should look like after a few uses. See that? No wax left on the sides, no tunneling, there's a wick. That's how your wick should be trimmed. You light it, it'll form a wax pool again. As you can see how there's two different shades of color? This is where the last wax pool was, right there. So you see how it's melted all the way around. So that's perfect, all the way around. That is what you want. Now, with your Yankee Candle tumblers, it's the same thing, except for trim the wick before the first burn on tumblers. The tumblers' wicks normally are about that long. I mean, they are extremely long whenever you first get them. So give them a nice trim. I've already trimmed mine. And you want to let this burn no more than 3 to 4 hours. The reason why is if you let it burn all day for like 6 hours, like I said, these wicks will start to spread apart, and then the wicks will end up on each side of the jar, and then you'll never get a full wax pool again unless you move them to the center. Now, again, you smell the lid. And these are also $28, and these burn for 85 hours. Now, most people are like, well, why would you get a tumbler instead of a jar when a jar is the same price for $150? Well, for example, this new coconut collection is not available in jars. What also the tumblers are is, since they have two wicks, they burn faster. They're a different design, obviously, and these are much, much stronger than the jars, well, most of the time. The tumblers, since they have a bigger opening and the two wicks, it'll form a wax pool quicker, and it will also burn down quicker and give a stronger scent throw. And when I say scent throw basically just means, how strong the scent is in the room. If it gave no scent throw, obviously there's no scent throw. And if you properly burn your tumbler, it should look like this. There's my two wicks, nice and trimmed, centered, all the way burned down. So, perfect, perfect, perfect burn. Now, lighters. You want to use a long candle lighter. You don't want to use a little Bic, cigarette lighter, because those are way too hard to get down in there. You'll risk burning your fingers. Definitely invest in a candle lighter. Get down in there, perfect, and light the candle. Now, the ever so famous Bath & Body Works Slatkin candles. These have 3 wicks. Now, these you do want to trim before the first burn. These are very thick and white, so you want to trim these to about 1/4 of an inch before you light them. Then, if you want to burn a candle that has the thinner wicks, which I don't have one with thinner wicks on me, it's on my shelf. Trim those just slightly, and then they will form a full wax pool. So if they have thick wicks, trim them normally. If they have thin, don't trim them at all or trim them very slightly. You can do that with a wick trimmer as well. Because these aren't very deep, you can actually use a nail clippers and get down and trim them as well. Now, I will tell you, you want to burn these, you can burn these all day if you want. I mean, there's not a limit to burn these. They say only 3 to 4 hours. I can burn mine for 12, and there's never a problem because the flames never get so high that they smoke like Yankees because of the wicks that they use. Now, there have been a lot of trouble with the Slatkin candles drowning out. You'll know if it's drowning. With the new fall fragrances, I have not had an issue, except for the Autumn Day candle, and I figured because those wicks were so scrawny, there was nothing even to it. But these, you just want to form a full wax pool as well. This will take about 2 hours if the candle's good enough. And also, here I actually have a candle from Slatkin that I am actually burning currently. Now, this is hot, so I don't advise you always to do this. It's really hot. Okay. As you can see how that's completely liquefied? Now, let me see if I can do this. I'll just move my webcam. Do you see that? It is completely liquefied all the way down. That is what you want. You want your candle to have a perfect burn like that each time. Obviously not from the top to the bottom, completely liquid, but you want to have a nice pool of wax. Now, Slatkin candles have a safety feature that whenever they get right to where the glass may have a chance to shatter, the wicks automatically blow out. With Yankees, you do have to stop at whenever a ½ inch does remain in the jar. But with the Slatkin candles, this is a farm stand apple, and these flames just extinguish themselves. I had this burning all day yesterday. It looked like my pumpkin cupcake wax pool from, right here where it was last, all the way to the bottom, and then these flames just blew out themselves. You know that this candle's done. What I do is you stick this in the freezer for about 4 hours. It'll split down the middle. Take out the wax, throw the wax away, or you can use it in your warmer. I know some people do, but I have so many candles that I don't have time to I can melt all this in my warmer, but I just think it's a waste to do all that because, I do have so many candles that I'm ready to start a new one after I finish this. And then these are recyclable, so go ahead and just throw this in your recycling bin. They'll take them, and you've helped the environment, and you've been burning a great scented candle. These do have a mirror image. Let me clean that off. They do have a mirror image, so they're really nice. But yeah, what I really love about the Slatkin candles is that they do have a safety feature that they do blow out. These only burn 30 to 45 hours, and these are $20, which $20 for 30 hours of burn time is ridiculously overpriced. To me, whenever these are on sale 2 for $20, I have a survey coupon. I can get 3 of these for $20 with the coupon. So that makes them $6 or $7, which is not bad at all, but I would never pay full price, $19.50 for them. Now, the one feature of the Slatkin candles that I really like over the Yankee candles is that they have the fragrance scent description on the bottom. I think that really helps. That way you know, instead of hurrying up and looking online, especially if a fragrance is discontinued, you still have the fragrance here instead of searching on Google and eBay and Amazon and searching for an hour just to find a scent description. With the Slatkin candles, they're right here. I really like that. If Yankee Candle is watching this video, definitely please put scent descriptions on the bottom of your candles. I would really love that. It would make everything so much better. But that's what I like about the Slatkin candles. The only problem is you don't know if you're going to get a great scent throw, if the burn's going to be great, or anything, if it's going to smoke. You do not know with Slatkin candles. That's the only bad thing about them. But overall, Slatkin candles and Yankee candles are my favorite candle brands, and that is how you burn them. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Happy burning!